The 2020 NBA draft was filled with uncertainty from the get-go. Fans were wondering who the Timberwolves would select with the first overall pick, if the Warriors would trade down, or if a big-time trade would occur revolving the top 10 draft slots. Now, relatively speaking, most things went like we expected, but there was one big surprise early in the draft, and that was the Chicago Bulls selecting Patrick Williams at 4. Now, before I get into why Williams' name getting called this early was unexpected, I want to preface this by saying he's a great player with lots of potential. There were plenty of mock drafts that had him going later in the first 10 picks, so he's obviously very much an above average prospect. But let's get into why seeing this pick with a raised eyebrow is understandable. Williams is a very raw talent. He has all the measurables you could ever want. 6'8", 225 pounds, and a near 7-foot wingspan, all with a high level of athleticism. However, there's a lot of areas that need work. For one, his footwork is underdeveloped. Sometimes he'll drive into the paint, but stumble over his own momentum. His handle can then also be put into question, as there doesn't seem to be that fluidity in his movement that you would want from an athlete with his level of explosiveness. He also turns the ball over a lot. In fact, he had double the amount of turnovers than he had assists, which more or less shows a lack of feel for the game. He shows glimpses of passing ability that give you hope, but also has moments that have you wondering if he knows where he is on the court. This can probably be sorted out with more coaching and experience, but the defense in the NBA compared to college is significantly harder to deal with. This last drawback isn't exactly his fault, but I would have liked to see more court time to better develop his skills in college. Coming off the bench wasn't ideal, and it's the only reason why he had such a mediocre stat line. Now let's get into reasons why he won't be a bust, because there is some real upside here. His shot is a bit slow, but it's effective. I mean, his percentages speak for themselves. He has a natural touch, and speeding up his release shouldn't be a problem with time. I anticipate that this is an area that he will continue to improve on, and at his frame, he'll be a problem if he becomes a sharpshooter. Though his underdeveloped footwork makes him a stiff on-ball defender sometimes, his athletic ability allows him to make great team defensive plays, as he's already a respectful shot blocker. His vertical leap and built physique opens up the possibility of him guarding bigger opponents in the NBA, which is a huge plus. Outside of the turnovers, he seems to make good decisions on the offensive side as he doesn't force up bad shots and looks to make the right play. This ability to buy into his system and trust the movement of the ball is a great sign in terms of his coachability. In the end though, this was still a risky move by the Bulls despite Williams' upside. I think they could have traded down a few slots and still have drafted him, but I like that they believe in him. On one hand, he has bust potential for sure, just being underdeveloped in a number of areas heading into the league. But if he puts these loose ends together in his game, look for him to prove the doubters wrong and show that he was worth the 4th overall pick.